Shalom, my friends. I hope all are well. Today I'd like to discuss with you an amazing phenomenon. And that is that indeed, and in fact, everybody in the world accepts the Torah. From the most religious to the one who claims that he is an atheist. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. It may get a little complicated, so you're always welcome to ask me anything you want on this aspect. And I'd like to devote today's shir to the concept of time. Do you know that we have different periods of time? We have the day, we have the week, we have the month, and the year. If you look into it, if you think about it, the day has a natural phenomenon that conjoins with it. The day is made up of daylight, sun, the sunrise and all that, and the nighttime, the darkness. And every 24-hour period, you have daylight and darkness. So that is a natural phenomenon. You go to the moon, that has a natural phenomenon, which is the moon, as we will discuss at length. The sun has a natural phenomenon, as we'll discuss at length. The only thing that doesn't have a natural phenomenon is the week. The week doesn't follow any aspect of nature. It is different to the day, month, as year, as will be discussed. So where does the concept of a week, 7 days, period, come from? The only place the origin is from is the Torah. That is, that God created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. Al kain beirach es yom hashvi. Therefore God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and made the seventh day a week. This comes from the Torah, no other place. And therefore, every person who follows the week, working from Sunday, whatever it is, but taking the weekend, they are following the Torah. As I say, and that makes no difference between atheistic or otherwise. I am told that people in the French Revolution, who were very contrary and couldn't abide by the Torah's teachings, decided to change the concept of a week to 8 days. Es ist nicht gegangen. It didn't work. Because God Almighty, who created the world, designed the human being, designed the inner clock and what has to be, designed it so, created us so, that the ideal will be a 7-day week. And this actually, the Medrash teaches us, was even before the Torah was given. This already came about when Paroi, the king of Egypt, enslaved the Jewish people, and Moses came to him and he said, if you want to have productivity from your slaves, you want them to work properly, force them to work 6 days a week, give them a 7th day off, and then the productivity will work much better. And that was the day of Shabbos. And even Paroi followed that in Egypt, and it worked. And so too, throughout the ages, as the famous author said, more than the Jewish people kept Shabbos, Shabbos kept the Jewish people. Shabbos has always been a part of us, as, in truth, the rest of the world. And so I'd like to discuss with you, in addition to that, a bit of the calendars, starting with the Jewish calendar, then going to the secular calendar and how they coincide. Now, we have, as I mentioned, the different natural phenomena. You have the day that everyone has equally, and that is made up of the sun and the moon and the ganze Geschichte. But then you come to the lunar calendar, which follows the month. How is a month made up? A month, more or less, has 29 and a half days to it. What does that mean? You will see the moon first appearing. It's just a little arch, not even like a banana yet. Just the first night it appears. That in the Jewish calendar is Rosh Chodesh. And it keeps growing bigger. After a week, it is a half a moon. And in 2 weeks, about 14 days, it is a full moon. The full moon has great significance in Judaism. Our festival of Pesach is on the full moon. Our festival of Sukkot is the full moon, and we call it in Aramaic Sira Bishlemusa. It is a full moon. The Jewish people are compared to the moon, and so the fullness of the moon is at our highest time. Historically, in the days of King Solomon, we were in the highest time. And then the moon goes the other way. After 3 weeks, it's a half a moon. Then finally it gets smaller and smaller. It disappears and starts again. Do you know how long that takes? More or less 29 and a half days. 29 and a half days. But it's not exactly, it's a little more. So, that is why our Rosh Chodesh corresponds to the moon. And generally, a Hebrew month can either have 29 days or 30 days. So, more or less, 6 months of the year, it's 29. 6 months of the year, it's 30. So you have every second month, 1 month 29, the next month 30, the next month 29, the next month 30. But because it's not exactly, therefore, 2 months, Cheshvan and Kislev, depending on what is needed, can either both have 29 days or both have 30 days. Now, another little complicated rule. When a month has 29 days, then that coming month, Rosh Chodesh, is only 1 day. So you have the 29th, the next day is the first of the next month, that is Rosh Chodesh. When you have a month having 30 days, then Rosh Chodesh is 2 days. So the 30th and the 1st is Rosh Chodesh. So we are told Nisan, Sivan, Av, Tishrei, Shvat, and Adar Rishon always has 30 days. Iyar, Tammuz, Elul, Tevis, and Adar always has 29 days. And as I say, Cheshvan and Kislev sometimes has 2 and sometimes has 1. But let me just tell you how it works. For example, the coming month is Av. Now, Tammuz is a month that has 29 days. So the 29th of Tammuz is Tuesday. Rosh Chodesh is 1 day. Wednesday. Rosh Chodesh Av, the beginning of the 9 days. Now, Av has 30 days. So Rosh Chodesh will be on the 30th, the Thursday and the Friday. The next month, Elul, will have 29 days. Rosh Chodesh will only be 1 day on Shabbat, which is Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah this year is September 19th, which is Shabbat. The next time, it'll have 2 days, and it'll be Sunday and Monday. The next time, it'll have 29 days. It'll be Tuesday, etc. So every month, the next month is the day after Rosh Chodesh, either 1 or 2 days. So the month and the moon is very strongly correlated, and as I say, it's a natural phenomenon. To the degree that I remember when we were learning about the American Indians, and the hunter would tell his squaw, his wife, "I'll be back in 3 moons." She just looked at the moon, counted it 3 times for 3 months, and he would be back. By the way, the people in those days truly knew the natural phenomenon, and that is why they could say they'll be back in 3 moons. We have our calendars, so we barely look at the moon for our dates, but they certainly did. Therefore, when they talk about years, they even knew it better than we do. Now, so a month, as I say, has 29 and a half days, more or less. That is the lunar year. A lunar year has no years, only months. Now, if you count 29 and a half times 12, you get 354 days. So, the Jewish calendar, basically, its year can have 355, 354, or 353 days. That's how long a lunar year is, as I say, 354 days. Now let's look at the solar year. The solar year has 365 and a quarter days, basically. What does that mean? That means every year the sun, after 365 and a quarter days, will shine in exactly the same spot. For example, there's a place called the Voortrekker Hoogte Monument near Pretoria. And you know, es hat a loch in dach. It has a hole in its roof. And every December 16th, the sun hits that hole exactly and shines up a big monument down there. If you make a mark on your wall exactly where the sun is, it will hit that mark again 365 and a quarter days later. That is what the angel told Abraham when he saw him. He made a mark on his wall and he said, when the sun hits this mark again, that's when you will have your son Yitzchak. So that is how long the solar year is, and to keep it constant, they have a leap year every 4 years to make up for that quarter day. Every 4 years they add 1 day, so it makes up for that quarter. Now, the solar year has no months. It only has a year. And that's why, for example, Augustus, who had the name August named after him, he was able to be a ganef. He could steal a day from February and make August 31 days, even though July has 30 days. And if you would follow the routine, then August should have 30, because July has 31, August should have 30. It doesn't. It has 31 because Augustus the ganef stole a day and made his month 31 days. Now, if you would follow the calendar, which is the lunar calendar, has 354 days, and that is basically followed by the Muslims, which is fine. The solar calendar is followed basically by Christians, which is fine, and they have 365 and a quarter days. But what would come out from that is that your seasons in the lunar calendar every year would lose 11 days. After 10 years, that's 110 days. That is why, by the way, the Muslim religious month of Ramadan falls out every year in a different sequence, because every year it's going to be 11 days later, as I say. That's fine. The Jews, however, the Torah was given a unique commandment, and that is that our months should follow the moon, but our years and our seasons should follow the sun. The Torah commands us, Shamor et Chodesh Ha'aviv, guard the month of spring, to make sure that your month of Nisan, the month of Pesach in Israel, is always in the spring. But if we only follow the lunar calendar, then after 10 years it won't be spring, it'll be in winter. It'll be in the middle of the year. So the rabbis were told to design a calendar which will ensure that our Hebrew month Nisan always falls in the spring. And for that they made an Ibayar, that is a leap year. In the days of the Torah originally, then the Jews had a Sanhedrin. They worked it out by looking at the natural phenomenon. However, with the Jews going into exile, that couldn't work anymore. And Hillel III made a calendar that will last forever. And he worked out a shtickle combination between the lunar and the solar year. So, work this out with me. You have 11 days missing every year between 365 and 354. If you multiply it with 19-year cycles, in 19 years times 11, you are missing 209 days. So they worked out that in 19-year cycle, every 7 years, sometimes it's 2 years, sometimes it's 3 years, they will add the Hebrew month of Adar, a second Adar, putting in an extra 30 years. 30 times 7 is 210. And so, as I said, Cheshvan and Kislev can sometimes have 1, sometimes 2 years. So therefore, every 19 years, we once again come to 0. So you will see, every 19 years, your Hebrew date and your English date will correspond, whether it's your birthday, whether it is a yahrzeit, whatever day you want. Look at every 19 years, and the secular and the Jewish date will come out the same. They can have 1 day difference. So, you have there the makeup of our Jewish calendar, more or less. As far as I know, we are the only people in the world that have a combination of the two. Our months follow the lunar calendar. Our year, the seasons, the Yom Tov, follow the solar calendar, a shtickle combination between the two. And so we have this natural phenomenon. The day, as I said, follows the daylight and nighttime. The month follows the moon, the natural phenomenon. The year follows the sun. The only thing that has no equivalent is the week. And therefore, my friends, think about this. Every single Shabbos, we have the opportunity of testifying, as we do in Vayichulu, as we just had in the tractate of Shabbos, that every time we say Vayichulu, we say Kiddush, and we recite that holy paragraph, that God finished his creation in 6 days and rested on the 7th. We are testifying to God's existence and God's creation of the world, the holy Shabbos. And in truth, whether you keep Shabbos or not, the fact that you mark the week and you follow a week which has no natural phenomenon means you're following Shabbos. I hope I expressed myself clearly and that it wasn't too complicated. You can contact me for any further information, but to sum up, a Hebrew month following the year can either have 29 or 30 days, because the month is 29 and a half, and therefore you have every second month 29 days in a Hebrew month, and then Rosh Chodesh is only one the next time. 30 days a Hebrew month, and Rosh Chodesh is 2 days. And no, if Rosh Chodesh was Sunday the last month, the next month it'll be Monday, Tuesday, the next month Wednesday, the next month Thursday, Friday, the next month Shabbos, the next month Sunday, Monday, etc. And your Hebrew date will always correspond every 19 years because we follow the 19-year cycle. God bless you. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you soon.